So I just want to say acetaminophen is basically Tylenol, essentially, because I noticed that term is used throughout this conference. So it's essentially Tylenol. And I just recommend strongly that you don't use Tylenol unless it's absolutely necessary. I understand it's maybe 10% of the women that are pregnant are, would perhaps be forced to use it. And that would mean you just can't tough it out. No matter what you do, you can't tough it out. So that's up to you and your doctor. But there's a very strong recommendation, maybe stronger from me than from the group, because they're waiting for certain studies. I just want to say, I want to say it like it is. Don't take Tylenol. Don't take it. If you just can't, it's just fight like hell not to take it. There may be a point where you have to, and that you have to work out with yourself. So don't take Tylenol. Other things that we recommend, or certainly I do anyway, is, and it's so important to me to see the doctor 4 times or 5 times for a vaccine. Don't let them pump your baby up with the largest pile of stuff you've ever seen in your life going into the delicate little body of a baby. Even if it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you just break it up into, I would say 5, but let's say 4 visits to the doctor instead of 1. And certain things I think you should do. We've already taken out and are in the process of taking out mercury and aluminum now. You know what mercury is. You know what aluminum is. Who the hell wants that pumped into a body? And there were rumors about both of them for a long time. But we're having them taken out. We're having them taken out of the vaccines. Hepatitis B, again, that's sexually transmitted. And we think you should wait. I think you should wait till 12. I'm just making these statements from me. I'm not making them from these doctors, because when they talk about, different results, different studies, I talk about a lot of common sense, and they have that too. They have that too a lot. But I recommend the hepatitis B. Take it at 12. Sexually transmitted. You don't have to give it to the baby when the baby's 2 years old. And there are a lot of theories on that, but not when they're 12. Doesn't seem to be a problem at all. The MMR and the chickenpox. Chickenpox has already been broken out. It's a singular shot. But the MMR is not. And I've heard for years that there's a problem with it. But they say that there's no problem if you do each shot separately, not put together. So an MMR, go out and do it separately. Don't take Tylenol. Don't give Tylenol to the baby after the baby's born. Every time the baby gets a shot, the baby gets a shot. They say, here, take a cup of Tylenol. I've heard that for years. Take Tylenol. Don't take Tylenol. Don't have your baby take Tylenol. Now, Tylenol is fine for people that aren't pregnant, that aren't in the situation that we're talking about. One very specific situation. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol. When you have your baby, don't give your baby Tylenol at all, unless it's absolutely necessary. Don't do it. Break up your visits to the doctors. Break them up. Do it in 5 if you can. Now, it's inconvenient. It's inconvenient. Oh, you have to go back another year later. You're going to go back each year for 4 years, 5 years, 3 years. Just break it up. Break it up, because it's too much liquid. Too many different things are going into that baby at too big a number. The size of this thing, when you look at it, it's like 80 different vaccines and beyond vaccines, and 80. Then you give that to a little kid. I can tell you that I had a woman who worked for me, a beautiful, wonderful woman, worked in Trump Tower, and she had the most perfect child. Beautiful, just perfect. And I remember this little blonde-haired boy running around the lobby of Trump Tower, so healthy and so vibrant. And I said, that's great. One day, I came in and she was crying her eyes out behind the counter. She worked at the front desk. She was crying her eyes out. I've never, as much as I've ever seen anyone distraught, she was. I said, "Are you okay? What happened?" My boy, I've lost my boy." "What does that mean, your boy?" "My boy, you know him, sir. You've seen him grow up. He was so beautiful. And I took him for a vaccine, sir. And he developed this unbelievable," I think she said 107, 108. It goes well beyond when this happens. It goes up to 106, 107, 108. We hear 105 and you're in trouble, but it just goes up to a level that you never hear about, but it goes up very high. And they get fried. She said, "I took him, he developed an unbelievable temperature. And I've lost him, sir. He's gone." And then I saw the boy. It was so tragic to see. That was the following day. After the vaccine. And I've seen it 2 other times, and I think 3 other times, but 2 other times, where they go to the doctor and they get the vaccine, they get the shot. The kid is, badly hurt. Let's be nice, badly hurt. And just do it. Break it up into 5, break it up into 4, break it up into 3 if you have to, but go to the doctor 4 times instead of once, or 5 times instead of once. And for some reason, they insist that you put it all into the body, and maybe that's the drug companies that make more money that way. Maybe it's the doctors because they don't want to be, doing this so much. Maybe it's the doctors. They get maybe more money. Who the hell knows what it is? Don't do it. Get them broken into 4 or 5 visits. Do it 4 or 5. That means you have 20%, 25% what you're putting into the baby's body. It can only help. And the other things I told you about, just the word tough it out. It's easy for me to say tough it out, but sometimes in life with a lot of other things, you have to tough it out also. Don't take Tylenol. Don't give Tylenol to the baby. When the baby's born, they throw it at you. Here, give him a couple of Tylenol. They give him a shot. They give him a vaccine. And every time they give him a vaccine, they're throwing Tylenol. And some of these babies, they're long born, and all of a sudden they're gone. And it doesn't hurt not to do it. It doesn't hurt. There's no downside. There's no downside at all. And break up MMR. Break it up. It's practically a known fact that if you break it up, you're not going to have a problem. But for years, we've been hearing how bad MMR is as a combination. And I'm very happy that you broke out chickenpox, because that was really a problem. And there are other things. It's interesting because there are other things, we were talking about it, other different drugs, pills that you take that we know are so bad and they don't take them anymore. But for some reason, with this, they keep taking it. Don't take Tylenol. There's no downside. Don't take it. You'll be uncomfortable. It won't be as easy, maybe, but don't take it. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol. And don't give it to the baby after the baby is born. And you know what? We have more than 3 years left. And I told Bobby and the doctors behind me, and they are so committed to this, I told them that this is the number one thing I want to do from you. And we have something else called Favored Nations, where I'm going to be reducing drug prices by 1,000%, by 900, 600, 500, 1,200. We're going to be reducing drug prices at levels never seen. It's called Favored Nations. We're going to be paying right now, we're like the garbage can for the rest of the world, and we have been for forever. We pay much higher for drugs than the rest of the world. We subsidize the rest of the world. We're not doing that anymore. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing. That's bigger than anything. I told the story the other night that I was so proud in my first term that for the final year, drug prices went down 0.25%. And I was so proud. I said, why? I'm the first one to do it. I think it was 28 years, they said, where drug prices went down from the beginning of the term to the end. And I was so proud. I called a news conference. I said, drug prices have gone down. First time it's happened in 28 years. You know what it was? 0.25%. I was so proud. Now we're going to have them go down from $100 a pill to $9 a pill. from $1,300 for a shot of like an Ozempic or the fat, I call it the fat pill or the fat drug. Sometimes it works, I guess, for people. The ones I've seen, it hasn't worked so well. I got a lot of friends that have fat. They said, yeah, I lost some weight. I said, you don't look it to me. But they paid $1,300, $1,200, and they go to London and they pay $88. And they call me, they go, what's this all about? We're subsidizing the rest of the world stupidly because there are a lot of stupid people in this country running things. And how big is that? But to me, that's nothing compared to autism. I see that gorgeous boy. I have a big present for him in the back. You know, you bring him back. We're going to bring him into the Oval Office. I have the best present he's ever going to get, okay? A big one. I saved it for you, okay? Because I heard you were coming. Look how beautiful he is. So that's it. There's nothing much to say. Don't take Tylenol if you're pregnant, and don't give Tylenol to your child when he's born or she's born. Don't give it. Just don't give it. And we're going to have, I think, really, if you do all the things that I say, break it up. Just break it up. Break up the shots with the doctor. MMRs, as I told you, separate, separate, separate. Chickenpox already separate. You do these things. I'm telling you, I want to, when I leave office, I don't want to have, it's going to be the kind of number that we're hearing where it's 1 in 32 or 1 in 10, because I've heard 1 in 10 also. And in California, it's really bad. I want it to be, let's get it back to maybe 1 in 10,000 or 1 in 20,000 or maybe none in 20,000. And the only way you're going to do that, because this is artificially induced. This is induced by something. You don't go from 1 in 20,000 to 1 in 10,000, then to 1 in 10. That means you're taking something and something's wrong. And I feel very certain, and I know I'll be criticized. Someday they'll look back and they'll say, well, it wasn't, but I think it will. I think we're going to have a tremendous, this is the most important thing. There's nothing more important than me. We cured inflation that Biden gave us. He gave us so much inflation, the biggest ever in history. We got inflation done. We brought prices down. We gave you the largest tax cuts, all that stuff. It doesn't mean a thing compared to what we're doing today. This means everything. So we're going to save a lot of children from a tough life, a really tough life. We're going to save a lot of parents from a tough life.